Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So, guys, we've had Tyson Fury against Dillian White. That was a massive fight, you know, a big heavyweight WBC title fight. And now we've got the next big fight is Canelo Alvarez v Dmitry Bivol. There is Oscar Valdez v Shakur Stevenson, and I will be doing more videos about that. I believe that's next week. Yeah, that is next week. Then the following week, I believe it's Canelo Alvarez. And I'm really looking forward to that now. It's getting closer, and we're kind of funny because whenever there's a big fight, we're always talking about that. We're talking about Fury right now, and we're talking about how he's a great and how he's this, that. Fury's come out of nowhere, and now he's almost been talked about as as one of the greats of this era. You know, not just in his division, heavyweight, but one of the greatest fighters. And people are now starting to say he's better than Canelo and stuff. And I'm like, look, people said, well, Canelo lost to Mayweather and then, you know, he didn't beat GGG. You know, some people say that. But what you got to realize is the weight categories that Canelo's operating in has way more talent than the weight categories that Tyson Fury's operating in, you know, so you can't really compare. And Canelo's moving up and down weight classes. There's more, you know, there's more talent. He's coming across more talented fighters, you know, and he's going up to, he's also fighting guys way bigger than him. Tyson Fury is way bigger than everybody else. So he has a size advantage over everyone else. Canelo's actually fighting guys bigger than him. He's beating guys bigger than him. Do you know what I mean? That's how great, you know, Canelo is. And whenever there's a great fighter who does something and people start talking about him, the great fighter that's going to fight after wants to make it about himself. Canelo's going to be lapping this up, seeing all this praise that Tyson Fury is going to be getting. And Canelo will be looking to prove his greatness against Dmitry Bivol. Because for me, Dmitry Bivol isn't Dillian White. You know, Dmitry Bivol is a top-tier light heavyweight contender. And there's many people out there that think that Dmitry Bivol will beat Canelo Alvarez. And for me, Canelo is going to want to prove his greatness against someone like Dmitry Bivol. He's going to want to prove that there's no doubt that he's the best fighter in the world. He's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Look, you've got guys like Crawford doing their thing, right? Crawford, you know, had a good win recently against Sean Porter. Errol Spence recently, you know, the week before, people were saying that he's pound-for-pound top 4. Now people are talking about Tyson Fury being top, you know, a top of the game. So all these top fighters are having good performances. And people are starting to talking about, oh, when Spence a top pound-for-pounder. Some people are saying, well, no, Fury's, you know, a top pound-for-pounder. You know, Canelo's going to be lapping this all up and thinking, okay, I'll show you against Dmitry Bivol. And look, I'll say this, I think Canelo Alvarez has got the most difficult opponent as well. Because Dmitry Bivol is a monster. He's a guy way bigger than Canelo. Naturally way bigger, and he's far more skilled than, for me, he's even more skilled than Ugas, and naturally bigger than Canelo. So Canelo's going to have to prove his point against Dmitry Bivol. That's going to be a very, very tough fight. And if Canelo does Dmitry Bivol in good and proper, knocks him out, stops him in emphatic fashion, then Canelo would lay down a marker. But like I said, don't count out an emphatic performance by Canelo Alvarez. There are people that are picking Bivol to win here. There are people. So Canelo, see, here's the thing. This is a very important fight for Alvarez because Canelo's got to win this one. Because if a lot of people think this is the first live dog that Canelo's had in a very long time, if Canelo looks shaky or gets beaten by this guy, right, that's going to really hurt his legacy. People are going to say, see, he was fighting all those cherry-picked guys. And now he fought somebody real and he got beat. It's crazy. I was having an argument with somebody on Facebook the other day, and he was saying to me, Bivol's a bum. He's one of those European fighters. I was like, mate, you know, when people say these sort of things, I think to myself, Do you watch boxing? Do you watch the sport of boxing? You clearly don't. Calling Dmitry Bivol a bum. Literally, he was arguing with me, and I saw the comment. He wasn't commenting. He commented on one of my posts. And I went back and forth with him. I said, mate, are you for real? Are you for real calling Dmitry Bivol a bum? You know, these are the same guys that think Andrade and Benavidez are some kind of killers, but yet Bivol's a bum. Just because the ignorance of these people, just because they haven't seen them fight. You know, Benavidez and Andrade are guys in America that they've seen all their life because it's easy access for them. So they're ignorant not to watch these fighters like Bivol, Beterbiev, and call them bums. Because that's not a true boxing fan. Because a true boxing fan watches all the talent around the world before placing his judgment. These type of guys, they have their set fighters. It's more of a fanboy thing where they want their favorite fighter to be getting the fights, and they're bigging up their favorite fighters and think their favorite fighters are the ones that are getting ducked. Hence why he said Benavidez and Andrade, because that's probably the guys that he watches. But they're ignorant. So the fact is, I don't call these guys true boxing fans because they're ignorant, calling Bivol a bum. I bet you've not even seen a couple of Bivol fights. I bet you haven't seen any Bivol fights. But just because he's a European fighter that's over in Europe, who's a very skilled fighter, you know, when do Russian fighters ever not be good? Let's not forget, Gennady Golovkin is from Kazakhstan, and look at the fight he gave Canelo. The disrespect, you know, that some of these American fans have for, European fighters is embarrassing at times. You know, Canelo Alvarez has got a real fight on his hands. And Bivol beats the brakes off Benavidez, Charlo, and all those guys. You know, so Canelo Alvarez has got his hands full. This isn't going to be an easy fight. But I believe Canelo's going to be very motivated and wanting to prove a point here. He's going to be wanting to prove a point against Dmitry Bivol. He's going to want to show that he is the fighter that we think he is. Because, like I said, one slip up from Canelo Alvarez, Crawford's there to steal. Spence is there to steal. Inoue is there to steal. Fury's there to steal. All these guys are there to steal and take away Canelo's thunder. Canelo just look at Lomachenko. Most people had him at the top of the pound for pound list, right? Right? Most people had Lomachenko at the top of the pound for pound list. He lost once, and I haven't seen him on a pound for pound list since. So this guy has gone from number 1 pound for pound to off the top 10. And people don't even talk about him like that anymore. Now, I understand because Lomachenko's not world champion right now. So it's hard to put somebody on a pound for pound list that's not a world champion for me. But still, his body of work is exceptional. And his last fight his performance was unbelievable. But he's not on the pound for pound list anymore. And this is what I'm trying to say. If Canelo was to lose to Bivol, you know, he could slide down that pound for pound list. So when you're number 1, right, even a bad performance, and even if you win and a bad performance can drop you off the pound for pound list. Canelo's fighting Dmitry Bivol. So even if he has not the greatest performance, but he wins, for me, the fact that Dmitry Bivol is such a great fighter, Canelo winning for me is a big thing, is a great thing. It doesn't matter how he wins. Obviously, if he wins in emphatic fashion, then he cements his place at that. But this is the kind of pressure that Canelo's under. You know, I know pound for pound, a lot of people say pound for pound is a mythical thing. It's people's opinion. It's a load of rubbish. But right now, Canelo is seen as the best fighter of his generation. He's seen as the best fighter in the sport without any question. So when you've got that kind of mantle, a bad performance, a slip up, anything and you know, you lose all that respect or everything that you've gained. It takes ages. Look how long it's taken Canelo to get this kind of respect, get to where he's got to. Look how long it's taken him. Ages. One slip up and you lose everything. People will start calling him a hype job. People will start calling him a cherry picker. See, he was fighting all these cherries from Europe. He fought a real one and he got beat. This is the thing this is the kind of pressure Canelo has. Canelo will have. Obviously, the true boxing fans will appreciate Canelo. And maybe that's who I should focus on, the true boxing fans. But there is a lot of pressure because there's a lot of other fighters below Canelo that are that want to be recognized as the best in the sport. They want to be recognized as the best fighters in the sport. So Canelo's got a lot of pressure on him. You know, a lot of people think Canelo's not going to get beaten from now to the end of his career, possibly. But when you're fighting guys like Dmitry Bivol, guys with that kind of talent, anything's possible. Because Bivol is no joke. Bivol is one of the best in the light heavyweight division. And let's not forget, he's so much bigger than Canelo. So this is going to be a tough fight for Canelo. This is no easy gimme type fight. This is a tough fight. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. The build-up's going to be crazy. You know, it's happening in Las Vegas. I can't wait for it. I genuinely can't wait for it. I think it's going to be epic. I do. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think Canelo's going to have to Canelo might even have to come from behind here. He might have to come from behind, you know, to prove his greatness. I'm really looking forward to this. As the fight's getting closer, I think the difficult task that Canelo has in front of him is clearly starting to become more apparent for me. And this is going to be a proper test for Canelo. A proper test. Is Canelo going to overcome it? You know, that's what we're all waiting to see, because this is a proper fight. This isn't Tyson Fury fighting Dillian White, or this isn't Errol Spence. Even like Eudenis Ugas was a real one. But this is even a harder fight. This is a much harder fight for me. So we'll have to wait and see if Canelo can prove his worth against this guy. Is Canelo... A lot of people think Canelo's not a light heavyweight. They think he looked pretty sluggish against Kovalev. And they think a mover, a guy that's, you know, got good hand speed, good foot speed, guy that's a mover, and also that size is going to cause Canelo fits. That's what a lot of people seem to think. So if Canelo was to put in an emphatic performance, Canelo would be solidifying himself, man, as one of the greats of this era. And for me, already, unless something significantly changes, for me, Canelo Alvarez is the best fighter of this generation right now. But again, a couple bad performances or a bad performance could change all of that. You know, and that's when you're talking about the best fighter of this generation, the margin of error is very little, right? So one little slip up, one mistake, and all of that goes out the window. And this is what I'm saying. Every time Canelo fights, there's a lot of pressure on him because he has to perform. He has to perform. Otherwise, the respect and the standing that he has in boxing as of right now, today, that diminishes. We just saw that with Lomachenko. Lomachenko isn't viewed the same way after the Teofimo Lopez defeat. He isn't. So Canelo's got to make sure that he doesn't have any slip-ups. And when you're fighting someone like Bivol, sometimes it's not in your hands. Sometimes Bivol might just be too good. You know, so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.